Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
What's going on YouTube? It's Filthy and we're back with another video. Today we're looking at the Diablo 2 Resurrected beta. This is the closed beta. Open beta starts on Friday. So this is just some tips to help you out. Now, this is not endgame stuff. This is just some really basic, simple things that I kind of wish that I knew at the start of the beta. I have played this game in the past, like 20 years ago when it came out. And other than that, I played the technical alpha a little bit. I've played a little bit of Project Diablo 2, but yeah, I just think a lot of these things, they're really straightforward, really easy. But if you've been away from this game for a long time or you've never played it, I think they might be helpful. Now, as always, guys, thumbs up brightens my day. And if you are interested in Diablo 2 Resurrected, please do subscribe. We've got some more videos. Now, primarily, this video is going to be helpful for people who are coming from Diablo 3 because this game works very differently. Or, as I say, maybe people who've played this a long time ago and can't quite remember it. So first off, the way stats work in this game are kind of different. In Diablo 3, for instance, you pump everything into your main stat, which would be strength for, you know, Crusader, and for Barbarian, dexterity for kind of like ranged classes, Monk and Demon Hunter, etc. But in this game, it doesn't work quite like that. You will add damage by adding strength, like for instance to a Barb, but it's not going to be terribly much. The stats actually are generally gateways to items, so 25 strength is a good benchmark to hit whichever class you're playing, because it will allow you to equip certain items. You can't equip certain things if your strength isn't high enough. Same for dexterity, that you need high dexterity to run certain weapons. But the most important two stats generally are these two at the bottom, with vitality by far taking the absolute #1 spot. So most of your points will be put into vitality. It's great because it means that you will not die as often. Dying in this game sucks. We will get onto that in a little bit. And also it'll give you more stamina, which is great because that means that you can run around a lot more without having to stop, without having to pop stamina potions. And then energy basically is mana. Each character is slightly different. They get different life values out of the vitality, out of the slightly different mana. But basically what I'm getting at is when you start your character, don't just dump everything into strength. Dump it into dex thinking, great, I'm going to do more damage. You pretty much want to be prioritizing vitality. Strength to 25 will just help you out. And then dex you probably won't need to touch, but you might do. And also energy. So yeah, first one is that's how that works. Now, kind of correspondingly, tip number 2 is that it is through items and through skills that you do your damage. It's not really your character yourself. So if you look at your skill tree, I've pretty much put all of my points into Fireball and things that synergize with it. So at the bottom, you know, it's yada yada. You spend mana and you do a Fireball. I can't demonstrate because we're in town. But at the bottom it says Fireball receives bonuses from Firebolt. So I've pretty much put a lot of points into this early on because you unlock this one to get to this one. And that's like a synergy. So this skill buffs up this one. So that's where all the points are there. Now, these are the ones here are boosted by my items that I've got. But if we look at this Barbarian helm here, it's got like +3 to shout. So going back again to the skill tree, I've got things that have got plus Fireball. I've got things that are plus Firebolt. So essentially, it's items that you want to look out for with plus skills. So that will basically be things like, you know, certain fanged helms for Barbarian, wolf hats or eagle hats for Druid, staffs for Wizard, scepters for Paladin, and that sort of thing. So anything with plus skill on, if it's a skill you're interested in running, that is very handy. But it's not, say again, it's not your stats here that really are overly impactful. All of this damage is coming from my weapon with the plus stats and from the skill points that I've invested in the character. Now, the next one is you're going to get a single respec per character. Now, the beta only runs on Act 1 and 2, and it only runs on normal. Now, the way Diablo 2 Remaster works is that you'll basically get a respec every time you go up the difficulties. So what you have to do is you just have to do the first quest in Act 1, which is clear the den, and once you do that, you'll unlock a reset stats and skills points. So in the beta, you can do this once and once only, because you can't move up to the next difficulty, because you have to stop at Act 2. But let's say you make a messy character, let's say you want to try a different skill, you can use that. And realistically, none of your progress saves from the beta to the launch version on the 23rd of September. So if you do want to play with a different skill, you know, by all means, use that. Again, if you make a messy character, that is something that you can do. Now, dying sucks. I mentioned that at the start. Now, what happens when you die is you basically lose all of your items. Your body sits there, and all this stuff that's on my character would stay there, and my gold would stay there. So I would still have my inventory, I would still have stuff in my stash, but all of this stuff gets ripped off me because I have to go back and collect it. So with that in mind, it's useful, I think, to put some gold in your stash. Occasionally some backup items, you know, if you want, because if you die in like a big patch of stuff, it can be quite difficult to come back to it. So yeah, I would highly recommend just keeping a couple of pieces, you know, as you go. Anything that you think, oh, it's kind of nice, you know, maybe you stick it in your stash. You know, you got spare runes. My stash is a mess. I need to sort it out, really. But you know, some stuff you've got shared between characters, and then you've got like a personal one for each individual character. But just make sure you got some gold. And then the other thing that you can do is when you're next to a waypoint, it's fine. You know, so if we teleport here, let's say I died over here, it doesn't really matter. It's not the end of the world because we know we've got the teleport waypoint. Let's say we played the game for like 5-10 minutes. We blasted our way through all these enemies, you know, and we got somewhere much further into like a dungeon, like a level 3 dungeon. Go away, Spectral Hit Demon. So let's say we got further into a dungeon and we'd spent 5 or 10 minutes down there. Well, unless we drop a teleport, a town portal, then we've got no way of getting back. So any kind of time you want to go to a new zone or you get quite far away from a waypoint, good idea. Particularly some of the later content does get a bit tough. It is nice to just drop these TPs. They're only 100 gold each. They're very, very cheap to buy from Akara. Or whoever it is in whichever Act 2. So you just go down here, buy a load of them, and then you can just drop them every time you get, you know, a into a dungeon, particularly before boss fights. You know, it can be very nice to just kind of get the hell out of dodge, come back, and Akara will actually heal you whenever you talk to her. So she'll redo your life, redo your mana. And if you want to turn these on, by the way, just click on the bottom of the orbs, and it will show you the constant up there. But yeah, use teleport scrolls to your advantage. Do them defensively, do them smart, and that way if you do die, you can then just respawn in town. You can grab some shit out your stash, a couple of bits, jump through the portal, and basically you just have to click on your body and get all your stuff. So if you think you can get to your body quite easily and click it, then you don't need to gear up with extra stuff, because it'll try and pick up all the stuff and put it in your inventory. Whereas if you've got nothing on, you can just click. So that's obviously a matter for you. Do you want to use your backup stuff, or do you just want to try and run it in and risk it? Okay, going back ever so slightly to the stats. When we're looking at gear pieces, particularly early on in the lower levels, you'll find things with like plus defense, plus attack rating. Both of those stats are a little bit meh, particularly defense. So this, like here, 29% enhanced defense, completely meaningless. That is garbage item. I have obviously picked that up on day one and just lashed it in there just as a spare. But that really doesn't do very much for us. Now, again, for the attack rating, the higher your attack rating, the more chance you have of hitting. Not for spells. Spells always hit, potions always hit, but physical attacks, whether you're throwing javelins as the Amazon, trying to hit as the Paladin, Barb, or whatever, you know, the higher your attack rating, the basically the more likely you are to hit. But even then, it's still not massively great. You know, it's not really worth a particular particular lot as a stat, you're much better off picking things like all resistance, mana regeneration, half freeze duration is nice. Any resistances that you can get is pretty good, plus mana, plus life, all those types of things. Attack rating really isn't something that you want. I mean, max stamina is probably a bit crap as well, but you know, I just haven't bothered putting something else on. But something like this Iron Ring, probably a bit crap. You don't need to worry about it. Now, the thing that we need to bear in mind is that items do work differently in this game than other ARPGs, and in particular than Diablo 3. Now, normally speaking, you'd be looking in Diablo 3, you know, it goes like grey, white, which is just your common items, then up to blue, which is magic, then up to yellow, which is rare, and then up to legendary or set item. Now, in this game, a lot of the actual best in slot things are actually just going to be regular stuff. So sockets is by far the most important thing in this game. So if we have a little look here at Chassis, so whenever you're in town, you just want to have a little flick through here. Something like this, you know, double socketed grey armor is fantastic. You can put stuff in there you can put in to get extra. Don't go for main stat, don't put stuff in for strength, don't put stuff in for dexterity, but you want to either put in rune words to make special kind of unique items, and you get these rune words from doing the countess, or like I've got here in my helm, this is just a crappy helm that I found, or you could have bought it from Chassis for very cheap gold, and basically shoving the blue gems in to give extra mana. If you don't need mana, you can stick red ones in and get life. But yeah, basically all I'm getting at is just because it's yellow and you find it doesn't mean it's good. Even if it's something like a set item or a legendary item, doesn't automatically mean that it's good. Sometimes it's much more important to get the plus on the skills. Sometimes it's much more important to get the stats than actually the item. So don't go crazy thinking that everything that you get that is yellow is actually going to be better, because a lot of the time it isn't. Right, sockets, as we say, are a pretty big deal. They are a really good deal if you do actually hire a mercenary. I tend to not bother playing with one because they do die quite a lot, and I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered gearing them out and stuff. But you know, I obviously just haven't done it at all for the sorceress. But you give her a bow with some sockets. You know, she's doing rubbish damage at the moment, 1 to 4. Let's just see if I got a bow in the stash with some sockets. No. Let's see. If we get lucky, maybe Chelsea will get one. She got one. Yeah, perfect. So let's just chuck that barb helmet on the ground with those boots that we don't want. So this will give us like an absolutely huge damage buff to our essentially a mercenary. So let's just do it now. No damage, 1 to 4. We stick the bow on. 2 to 10. Great. If we put this in, oh, is she not level enough, or can I just not? There we go. Right. Let's stick in another couple. So I'm going to make this a poison bow, just for way of example. So look at that, damage 31 to 39. So that is absolutely huge. And you think that was like what, 80 gold to buy that? And then these 3 gems, you'll find tons of gems on the floor, and your merc now will be doing loads of damage. You can get a 2-socketed cap, give it to her, put red ones in, give her some health. Again, chest plate with a couple of red ones in for some health. That'll help keep her alive, and that will you know, a pretty good tip. But I didn't really use one with the sorceress, but I did use my mercenary a lot with the druid because I was doing a pet build, and that seemed to work. Now, touching on the sockets ever so briefly, you can't unsocket things once you have put them in. That's it forever. If you do your rune word the wrong way around, unfortunately you've bricked your item. If you've got something really cool and you put something in that you later regret, I'm sorry, you can't get it out. Again, that's another reason why it's nice to stick to the grey open socket items, because you know, to get new ones is really cheap. But yeah, you can't unsocket anything. Right, next thing that really bothers me, it gets easier and easier as the game goes on, because the more points you get into life, the higher your stamina goes. But initially at the start, you will have very little stamina. You can buy potions here from Akara. They stack, so if you drink, they last 30 seconds of infinite stamina. If you drink 10 of them, you get 300 seconds. But other than that, your character will begin walking. You need to press R so that you run. In town, you have infinite run, you have infinite stamina, so you can't run out. But when we get out into the world, you'll see that the stamina starts to go down. Super frustrating, because like moving at this speed for an ARPG is kind of about right. Now I've actually got some plus move speed plus fast walk run speed gear on. But as you can see, the stamina is going down. The more and more that you run around, it basically will deplete. Also, when you're running, monsters are guaranteed to hit you, so just bear that in mind. If you're trying to run past stuff, they will hit. But let's just see, there's the Merc. Look at that, one-shotting everything. What a hero. But if you then cast a couple of these potions, then we've now got 60 seconds of unlimited stamina, and who doesn't want to go for 60 seconds uninterrupted? That's what she said. But yeah, early on, when your stamina's really low, it's can feel really cruddy, so I would recommend stocking up on potions, getting some, and then you can absolutely whiz around super fast. Now, the biggest tip for all of the characters early game is to get rune words. Now, to get rune words, you have to basically collect runes, and then you stick them together. So I've got a bunch in my stash, which you've probably seen. And basically these mainly drop from the Countess in level 1. She can drop, I think, 0, 1, 2 or 3 runes. So you just keep doing that boss encounter over and over again. It is in the Black Marsh, and you basically look around for the tower. We'll see if we can find it. It's spawned right next to us, that's perfect. So you come in here, you go down, and then into the Forgotten Tower, and basically it's down to level 5. She's in there. It's really great for XP in here, because there's tons of champions and elites, and they give you a bunch of XP. Each run will take you a few minutes, and you just basically collect up all of your rune words. Now, there are 3 rune words that are super important. The sorceress that I've got has benefited from 2 of them, and I'll show you the other one on my paladin. So the first one is stealth armor. This is Tal Eth, so you need the Tal rune and the Eth rune. You need to put them in that order. It needs to be in a grey piece. It needs to be in a 2 socket. It gives 25% fast run walk, which is just brilliant. Speeds the game up. 25% faster cast rate means more fireballs for me, so that's great. Faster hit recovery is fantastic. That is when you get interrupted, when you get whacked and you go, ugh, and then you can't really do anything. So the sooner you can recover, the sooner you can start attacking again. Dexterity, we don't care about. Mana regen, obviously, is nice if you're using mana. Maximum stamina, again, who doesn't want to go for longer? Whee! And then last one, poison resist. Again, yeah, a bit meh. And magic damage reduced by 3. Sure, whatever. The next one is the Leaf Staff Tyrell. Now, the first one, you only have to be level 13, I think, to use. Or maybe is it 17? It's saying 17 on there. And then level 19. Yeah, it's 17 on this one, 19 on this one, 13 on the final one I'm going to show you. So the Leaf Staff Tyrell, it goes in the staff. Again, grey one, 2 sockets. It adds an absolute shit ton of fire damage. So +3 to Inferno, +3 to Warmth, +5 to Firebolt. The defense goes up as your character levels. Cold resist is really nice. Cold is a pain in the arse in the game, so that's a good stat to pick up. Mana after each kill is great, because you can smoke stuff with your fireballs and replenish your mana. And then staffs, I think, generally have got 50% damage to undead. So going back to the skill tree here, if you see, we've got Firebolt. It says current skill level 19, base of 11. That means we've got 8 extra points from the 5 for all fire, and then the 3 specifically for Firebolt. So that just juices the damage up absolutely tons. So let's just jump on the Paladin, and I'll show you the other final rune word, which is a pretty good one. And again, this is something I've only just put together, this one, because obviously it does take time to farm the runes. Some of them are rarer than others. You know, but you will get there. And this one is a steel, which is a tier and an L, so TIR. EL. This basically gives 25% attack speed, more attacks, brilliant, 20% enhanced damage, 3 to minimum damage, 3 to maximum damage. Attack rating, as I said earlier, is not great. 50% chance to open wounds, which is a bleed, a damage over time effect, which is great. Again, mana per kill, which is always nice. Light radius, and then durability increase. Doesn't really matter terribly much. Whilst we talk about durability, I haven't scripted this one, but I've just suddenly thought that you need to repair your items. So when you get something that is damaged, it will come up in the top right hand corner saying it needs to be repaired. Just bring it back to Chelsea, get her to repair all equipment, or again find the equivalent vendor in Act 2 to get the repairs done. If you are playing Amazon, you will need to repair, which will replenish your bolts and javelins. Bit weird, but that is how you do that. Now, in terms of leveling and getting experience points, if you just stop and kill literally everything, your XP will go up, but it's a very slow method. What you need to focus on really is on the elites and the champions. So the ones with minions basically are worth 500% XP. The ones that are blue and have got champions are worth like 300% extra. So when you're doing the Countess runs, you will do tons of XP farming, because on each floor there's a decent chance of getting a champion pack, and yeah, you just keep rinsing and repeating this. So this is totally random. The Forgotten Tower can be like miles away, it can be really close, but you probably want to do this until you've got those 3 runes. You know, if you're going to play multiple classes, I'd make sure you've got at least enough to make one of all of them. If you're just doing a sorceress, you need the 2 that I showed, the chest and the staff. And realistically, for the paladin, I've made the axe so far, and I will make the chest because it is worthwhile. But basically, if we stop and kill all this stuff, we don't get too much XP, but the things that said minions that we absolutely smoked there basically give us a load of XP. You know, who doesn't want 500% extra? So that is pretty good. Then we've got charms. Now again, charms are a bit funky. I'll tell you what, we'll jump back on the wizard to show you this one. I say wizard. Oh god, you're gonna shout it's a sorceress. Come on, game. That's weird. That's a bug, isn't it? That's saying druid. Bizarre. Maybe we can report that. But yeah, charms, you'll find they are things that you have to keep in your inventory, and they will give you a bonus, like 12th life is a good one. This one I will describe now. It says adds 1 to 3 lightning damage. That's only for physical hits. So because I'm using the fireball, that's a spell, the lightning damage doesn't go on. So you can disregard that, but we do get the lightning resist. So I was running around for ages with a load of charms with like plus fire, plus poison over time, all this kind of stuff. It was doing absolutely nothing for me. So the charms only work the plus damage on the charms only works if you're actually physically hitting something. And then the last tip that I've got, and this is born from personal frustration, remember it is a beta, the servers are going to be stressed, it's going to be a little difficult. I would make sure that you save your progress. If you do find a nice item, if you get to a waypoint and it's an acceptable time to stop, just make sure you save your game. I've lost some items by getting DC'd or from disconnecting or whatever a couple of times. I just haven't had. I lost a couple of rune words, which was really punishing at one point. But yeah, you know, the game probably will crash a fair bit because it is a beta. Just, you know, just bear it in mind. So yeah, so I would recommend saving, and then at least you've got you know, a little bit of progress saved. They are my tips. I hope they are helpful. They will probably do you fairly well to start the game off when it releases, but I am planning to maybe do a more in-depth, you know, set of tips before the actual launch. I hope these things are useful to you. If any of them have helped you at all, a thumbs up is greatly appreciated, and thanks so much for sticking to the end of the video. I will be back with some more Diablo 2 Resurrected content and Diablo 3 content when I can. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take it easy. Peace.